Alright, back in the shop. Gonna pick up mostly where I left off the last video with the AC. You can see it's back on the ground and not on the wall, so I'll explain that in just a second. But quick summary. I'm having a problem with overheating, which is most likely due to air in the system. So I've got to find a way to get the air out of the cooling system, and installing the air conditioner puts 2 more lines into the cooling system to worry about bleeding and getting air out of. So before I spend any more time trying to get air out of the cooling system that I'm going to modify, I wanted to go ahead and get the water side of the AC plumbed up so that was bled and filled and solved all at the same time. The last video I had mounted the unit right here. You can see where one of the studs is. There's the there's the other 2 studs right there. And so I was worried about bulkheads, so I ordered the bulkheads, and I'd originally ordered one that was a big square. All 4 nipples were raised to the square, and I realized that was never going to work. There was no way I had room in here anywhere for that. So I ordered 2 twos, and my thoughts were I could put one right here. Can I get a good angle on that? Not really. Stupid dashes in the way. And then the other one you can see I've got taped right there. So I thought I was going to get the heater pipes here and the AC pipes here. And I could make those locations work, but not using the AN. The bulkheads ordered came with AN fittings. Not with using AN, because these, where did they go? These AN adapters they sent me for the heater hoses are absolutely massive. When you put it on there, even if you had no pipe, you know, you're looking at it that much. You know, you're looking at 4 inches almost. And this is sitting almost exactly where I had it hung, so you can see I was already into this space. There was just no room to make a turn and go out through the firewall. It would have all had to come out here into the door area. And I don't really want to do that. For one thing, that puts me going through that one and that one. I'd have to go through 2 bulkheads. I'd have double connections. I'd still be making a tight turn in here. So I literally spent like 3 hours yesterday looking for a bulkhead that was, you know, like this, just a slip on and put a clamp on it. And I could not find anything that I could get in any reasonable amount of time. There's 4 or 5 companies in the UK that make something exactly what I need. I couldn't find a single one after multiple hours of searching on the internet. So, so what I got to thinking was, you know, I wasn't super thrilled. I mean, I convinced myself I was okay with it sitting right here where it was, but it was a little low. It was a little in the passenger's foot's way. And so I started thinking about what my alternatives were. And definitely, if I move it over towards the center console some, that gives me more room to work with for my bulkheads. It gives the passenger a little more foot room. And the other thing it does is that's the vent for the foot. So if you're trying to warm your feet up, and if the heater's sitting right here in the passenger's footwell, the passenger's feet are going to get nice and warm, and the driver's feet are going to get nothing. If I can move this more towards the center, it will direct maybe some heat over to the driver's footwell, but that's just secondary. The real goal is to make room for getting all these hoses routed, because it's a really tight space right there. So I'm going to be moving this left, and then my goal will be to try and get this bar, which is an issue. I will either cut it and move it, or I will try to line it up to where it splits right through there, so that I can lift this up and give the passenger's foot even more room, assuming I can make my bulkheads turn if it's that high. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is working on the AC bulkhead, because that's the one that's going to be most likely to give me an issue with being able to make the turn if I move it up. So I bought bulkheads that the fittings come out of the plate. Where did I put that plate? Here it is. So the fittings actually come out of the plate, which some people probably don't like. Some people probably would have preferred the nipples and the plate all been one solid piece of aluminum. But I like it being two pieces because what I was able to do was 3D print me a replacement that's a wedge to give me a little bit of angle. Because the way the hoses come out, they can't go straight or they'll run into the heater pipes. They're really designed to come and exit out the side. You know, and when I did my Mustang, that would have been beautiful. Instead, I had it going through the firewall, which I didn't want on that project. This project, I wish they went out the firewall and they come out the side, but you know, the challenges are what make it fun. That's why we enjoy the hobby. So it's got to angle up a little bit, and so 3D printed me a wedge to replace the flat one. Doesn't look as pretty, but you're never going to be able to see it. That's going to be covered in the front bay right there. That'll be covered up. You won't be able to see this. It's going to be covered under this side, so it's going to be completely hidden. So that's the first thing I'm going to get to today. I'm going to have the time lapse rolling. I'm going to try and get this installed in the new mounting position, and then get the bulkhead installed. And if I get past that, then I'm going to start working on the steering column. I want to drop it down about 2 inches and compress it in about 2 inches to give me a better ergonomics while I'm sitting. I doubt I get past all that today. If I do, I'm going to start working on getting the dash mounted. I'm going to get the dash exactly where I wanted, and my plan is to 3D print some mounts that will bolt to the frame and then to the dash to hold it exactly where I want it. So hopefully I get all day in the garage. We'll see how much progress I make. Almost had well, not a disaster, but something go wrong here. I was drilling this hole, and let's see. That brake line was right there. So, luckily, took some paint off of it, but there's no hole in it. So, pop the rivets loose, and I'll just angle it up slightly like that. Solve that problem. Got the bulkhead for the high pressure, low pressure liquid lines installed. That's the angled one that I'd made. You can see it's not a lot. It's about a 12-degree angle. I'm hoping it's enough. So put the AC unit up in there and let's see how it fits. About where I think it'll go. It's obviously just kind of laid up in here. Stacked on some stuff randomly, but I need a little more angle on my bulkhead. You can see the hoses are flexing a little bit. That is literally as short as I can get the number 6 line. The inside pipes are touching, so that's as short as I can get that one, unless I can find a one that's got a smaller neck on either side. But I think it's short enough. This post here is against the firewall, so I just need to print another bulkhead wedge with it's about 10-12 degrees. I probably need to go about 15-16 degrees, and so these lines will fit, and there's just barely enough room up under there to put the heater lines on. I'll have to put the heater lines on first, and then those heater lines can come out here and exit through the bulkhead here. I'm fixing to get some hose and make sure I can get enough flex on it, but I think with, I don't know, 8 inches there, probably get that to work. So I'm gonna get this bulkhead taped up here, put some hose on these, make sure I can flex it to meet where the 90s will be, And then if that works, we'll start putting new studs in the firewall and getting this thing mounted in place so we can start working on plumbing up the water side of it. Okay, I got the holes drilled. One right here, which was going to be in the back of that, so I had to move it. Another one up under here, you can't see, it's right there, right up under this bar. And then the third one's right here, just beside the brake cylinder. And somehow, that wound up, I don't know, that much, 2 inches right of where I had intended it to. Couldn't possibly go any further left. I'd be into my pedal setup. So I don't know how I just got that wrong earlier, but the bulkhead's got to move. Disappointing. I've already got a ton of holes to fill in this firewall though, so yeah, that's the next thing to do. This is reversed just so that I could use this as a template, but I now need a hole exactly where that rivet used to be. Which thankfully isn't into a bar. I spend as much time looking for something I had 3 minutes ago as I do actually working on stuff. It took me forever to find the nut that went on the number 6 bulkhead. So that is as short as I can get that pipe. I mentioned that earlier, it can't go any shorter. That little bit of rubber there is actually required because the inside tube sticks out a little further. So to get it to fit, I actually had to move the wedge to the firewall side, or to the engine or the radiator side of the firewall. But it just barely fits. So boy, it is snug. So liquid lines, or the 2 AC compressor lines there, finally mounted into the bulkhead. The 2 heaters are right here and here, and these flex enough to get there, and it probably make more sense to do top and bottom like that. So they've got enough flex to get there. So now you can sit down here and see that all the foot room is so much better. This foot can go anywhere it wants. This foot gets to tuck up under that one fairly well. You could either get it here or there, and it's only a problem if you're 6 foot or taller. If you're like my wife and 5 foot nothing, your feet won't even get that far. And so I just hope that I don't run into any issues behind here. The dash sticks way out here, so I should have plenty of room for the radio and stuff like that. And now I've just got to worry about cable routing. Looking at the vents, this one is cut off just a little bit, but I think if I put the hose on there before I mount it, it'll be okay. If not, I'll cap this one off and only use this one for the defrost. It's a small windshield to defrost, not a big deal. Same thing here. I think I'll have to get this one on before I put it into place, but I think I'll be fine. They're flexible crunch tubing, so just crunch around that little piece right there. So I can't do the water bulkhead, which is what I really want to do because the water side is what I care about, until my 90-degree adapters get here, because the ones that came with kit are straight. So they would stick out like this and do me absolutely no good. So I bought some 90-degree ones. They're also a lot more compact than that. They're more traditional AN stuff like I used on the fuel system, except they're number 10 instead of number 6. So yeah, as soon as those get here, I'll punch those holes and make sure that's all done, and then I can finish the water system. So I guess for the rest of today, I'm gonna focus on the steering wheel and the dash. I said I wanted to drop the steering wheel and compact it. That's gonna be the first thing. I'd said the next thing I was gonna do was the dash, but I actually forgot that I've got to get the cruise control switch somehow mounted to this aftermarket steering wheel. So somewhere I bookmarked a thread where somebody on I think it was a Miata forum had put their cruise control on an aftermarket steering wheel and made it look real good. So I'm gonna go dig that up, and once I get the column compacted and dropped, before I put the steering wheel on, I'll fabricate a bracket to hold the cruise control switch. And yeah, so that's today. Take the column out, fabricate a mount to drop it down, which I may use some square tube, or I may 3D print something, and then get the column compacted, get it back in, and if I got time after that, start working on the cruise control switch.